In and about the gardens immediately surrounding the Shrine of the Baha, the gardeners have been hard at work, refurbishing the original terraces so painstakingly laid out by Shoghi Effendi. One by one, old plants are replaced. Cypress trees, jacaranda, poinciana, and bougainvillea, and of course, the ubiquitous red geraniums. New irrigation systems are invisibly tucked beneath the gardens. Seasonal ryegrass is replaced with crop, so to provide a green lawn year-round. Weathered or damaged ornaments and pedestals are refurbished or replaced. Each day's progress may be scarcely noticeable to others, yet with persistence and the passage of time, the thousands of small acts of love have given the gardens a fresh look, filled with vibrancy and renewed life. It is but one small story, one act in the great spiritual drama of the 4-year plan. On Hatsyanad Avenue, excavations for the opening are complete. Masons is busy installing decorative stone elements on the 800-foot concrete retaining wall on the north side. The support columns for the Hatsyanad Bridge are in place in preparation for the scaffolding necessary for pouring the main slab that will span the road. On terraces 12, 13, and 14, massive amounts of earth and rock have been moved as the construction gains momentum in this area. At the site of the International Teaching Center, for 85 concrete work. The front entrance stairs facing the monument gardens have been poured, while the elegant curved rear wall and the shell of the main council chamber are rapidly taking shape. Study of text, all manner of finishing work in full swing. Inside the main entrance, beige French textured marble walls complement the dark red Italian granite of the main staircase. Curved glass balustrades, skylights, and 80 teakwood windows are among the many elegant and durable fixtures which add to the dignity, beauty, and grace of the structure. Every level in every building is a beehive of activity as the Carmel projects move inexorably ahead, progressing stage by stage in accordance with the building plan. In more than 1,000 meetings nationwide, local Baha'i communities gathered to commemorate the 180th anniversary of the birth of Baha'u'llah, providing prayerful support as the members of their spiritual assemblies cast ballot in the inaugural elections of the regional Baha'i councils for the United States. Once the complex task was completed and verified, the results were announced by the National Spiritual Assembly in a posting on its internet website. In early December, the 4 newly elected councils gathered at the Mother Temple of the West in Wilmette, where they were welcomed by members of the Continental Board of Councilors and the National Spiritual Assembly.
For he has chosen among all his servants in this country those who will initiate, will launch this very, very important new step for our community.
The National Spiritual Assembly hosted the gathering, presenting to the regional councils beautiful replicas of the Master's tablets of the Divine Plan to the northeastern states, the southern states, the central states, and the western states.
Press forward quickly in effecting sound action will boost the thrust in the expansion and consolidation of the community so that there will be no slackening of the momentum already achieved, but rather a greater upsurge in the activity that has as yet been evident.
Provided time for each council to meet privately, as well as joint sessions for orientation for the great tasks that lie ahead. Nia Bay is a small fishing village situated at the extreme northwestern corner of the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State. For over 3 decades, it has been the seat of the spiritual assembly of the Baha'is of the Makar Reservation and a gathering point for American Indian Baha'is from throughout the continent. The steadfast believers in this community have hosted more council fire gatherings of indigenous believers than any other community in the U.S., including the memorable culmination of the first Trail of Light project, which brought teams of South American Indian Baha'is, Quechua, Mapuche, and others to visit reservation communities throughout North America. In response to the special call of the Universal House of Justice to American Indian believers in the 4-year plan, the Baha'is of the Makar Reservation once again arose to host a Continental Council fire in Nia Bay. Nearly 400 believers from across the United States, Canada, and Alaska gathered in a great camp circle on the shore of the Pacific Ocean. They prayed, danced, consulted, feasted on fresh salmon, deepened their faith, and prepared to go forth in the service of the cause. By the end of the gathering, 42 Indian believers had pledged in writing to respond to the call of the Universal House of Justice for Indian teachers to travel to the circumpolar areas and Asiatic Russia, setting in motion yet another act in the great spiritual drama of the 4-year plan. Karen Perry James knows what it means to be an isolated believer. From the time of her declaration some 15 years ago, she was the only adult believer in the coastal New England village of New London, Connecticut. For years and years, she made friends, served others, raised her children, and quietly lived the Baha'i life. Eunice Waller is the former mayor of New London.
She doesn't say much about the Baha'i faith. She just does things. When my husband died, she sent me notes to read. She sent me things to inspire me. She didn't say very much, but she was always there. And the things I needed to read for consolation came from Karen. And she was always available if I needed her. I think she was just living her faith.
Over time, she made many friends, including Professor Michael Bedford.
She knows all these people because she sits down and talks to people and values them as a human being. You know, it's not just a superficial thing, like I was saying when we first met. So you really want to talk to her. You really feel like she's interested in you, that you are a real person to her, and that you can have a decent conversation, you know, that is meaningful.
As the 4-year plan entered its 2nd year, Karen was still the only Baha'i in New London. He decided to do something about it.
And, you know, it could be very selfish that I was, you know, wanting Baha'is in the community because I really was tired of being the only Baha'i in the community.
With the help of visiting Baha'is and travel teachers, she began to teach her friends more openly. Jean Larkin was the first to respond.
I came with Baha'i as a result of the dialogue which was initiated by the Multicultural Coalition, but the relationship that I created with Karen Perry James. In London, for years, from my talk with Karen, she was, I guess you could say, a lone soldier Baha'i.
Once this difficult first stage of growth was achieved, the dynamics became more powerful. It wasn't long before Alejandro Melendez joined the group.
And I wasn't too interested in the religion as a organized group, as a church or something like that. But I was very interested about the relationship among them and the relationship between the Baha'is and the community. And I like that.
Jean had a fireside, okay, and Jean turned it out because she had sweet potato pies, like all kinds of strawberry tarts and fried chicken, baked chicken. She just had food galore. She has good food. They're happy. So everybody was like really receptive. She reminds me of like an aunt or like somebody you want to say. I always call her Miss Jean because she's just kind of like that, you know, that motherly figure.
In just 4 months, there were 4 new believers, and the New London Baha'i community had reached a new stage in its progress. Karen herself was most surprised at the dramatic results of her newfound courage and determination.
Well, you know, you do what you do because you believe, and but you believe on one level, but somewhere you don't ever think it's gonna happen. And then, I mean, when it just started happening, it was blowing my mind. But then, you know, then it was 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then I just was like, whoa, wait a minute, you know, like we got to plan feast, and like, you know, you have to form a group, and they have to be deep in, and you know, they don't know a whole lot about the faith, and how am I going to do that? And it's just me, and I was scared. I was really scared because I wanted to do it right.
She called a trusted Baha'i friend who encouraged her to seek the help of the auxiliary board.
They just helped encourage us and guide us and told us, you know, the first things that we should do was to try and start a systematic deepening program and just get to feast, you know, and just be with one another.
The enkindled souls in New London were gaining momentum. They joined forces with other Connecticut Baha'is to plan and host a conference on the campus of Connecticut College, celebrating race unity and African American culture.
To the sideline with the 54th and killed enough masses to satisfy all the scheming y'all did.
And as we plan this particular event, we are truly dedicated to uplifting the spirits and bringing joy. And the way we carry ourselves will exemplify truly our faith.
Is female, knife is male.
And I don't particularly understand the Baha'i religion, but this I do understand. They have pure motives, and actually based on those pure motives, which come from their religious background. They're very outwardly focused. They're here for mankind, and they're not a selfish people. And that just sums it up. So I can see why I'm a friend of the Baha'is.
At last report, the Baha'i group in New London has expanded to 6 and is looking forward to achieving assembly strength by Rizvan. The University of North Carolina, Asheville is tucked away in the lush Appalachian hills of the western part of the state. This campus is home to one of the most active college clubs in the United States, organizing a full calendar of events, ranging from small classes, firesides, and discussion, to large conferences, rallies, and concerts.
I was amazed by the grandness of their vision. We're not talking about little events that they're making. We're talking about huge programs. They're the most active cultural programming organization among the student body at UNCA.
And it's just really interesting because now almost the entire campus community has a sense of what the Baha'i Association is. Maybe they don't know what Baha'i Faith is, maybe they've never heard of Baha'u'llah, but they know that the Baha'i Faith exists.
The UNC Baha'i Association has gained a reputation for their ability to work collaboratively with other campus organizations.
The whole cooperation bit, or networking too, between different organizations, I think is relatively new within this past year and this year. Baha'i Association is really helped the women's organization WAIL a lot.
The organization goes out of its way in comparison to other student organizations to reach out to groups on campus, and I think that again is, you know, is expressive of groups' desire to make bridges between different student constituencies and faculty constituencies on campus.
Overall, I mean, they're just a warm people, you know, who have like no barriers, you know, for themselves and stuff, and they just work freely with anybody, which is, I mean, what I just love about Baha'is on a whole.
And the people in the African American Student Association have been very open to working with us because, I mean, we've been involved in outside dialogues of racism dialogues, and like, so I think that a trust had already been established, some relationships had already been formed, and then, so our approaching them was taken in stride. Oh yeah, we love to do this because this is an issue that we're concerned with as well.
In Western North Carolina, there are a lot of different groups that don't share the values of community, that aim to spread virulent messages of hatred, and the Baha'i Student Association in a lot of ways stands in opposition to that kind of that way of being. What they seek to do is to reach out and bridge, to dialogue about differences, to engage other people in the sharing of stories and experiences and sharing of ideas.
The president of the university has also praised their activities.
Well, last year we were awarded the most outstanding student organization with another organization, a sorority, got it on campus also.
With crowds of up to 500 attending their meetings, people are surprised to learn the actual size of the campus club.
They just have a sense that this group is, which is the funny thing, I think it's really big, like 30 or 40 or 50 people, and only the 4 of us. It's just through the power of Baha'u'llah.
Abdu'l-Baha said that one consecrated soul is equal to 1,000 other souls. Surely these 4 students have demonstrated the reality of this principle.
I mean, I guess it can be very daunting, you know, to think, you know, you're alone at a college, you know, university, or there's just you and a few other people. From our experiences, it really has shown that it doesn't matter how many people you have. If you know, really trust in Baha'u'llah, if you're relying on divine assistance.
Before this rally for race unity, like for the several nights before, we gathered tablets 9 times. All these things have great spiritual power. And I think that gives us the strength to go out and really make these big contributions.
With such major activities scheduled on a monthly basis, one cannot help but wonder if they have time to do anything else.
Well, Baha'u'llah tells us that we have balance in all aspects of our life, and so we've tried to incorporate that into our club activities. We have just public proclamation activities, and it's a very important part of our club activities, but we also try to have deepenings. We have potluck deepenings every couple weeks, and we try to invite people personally, and that's where the real teaching takes place.
The thing that is exciting about the students in the Baha'i Association to me is that they seek to bring dignity to communities. They seek to create bridges. They seek to exchange ideas and to really hear and validate the experiences of other people. And so really, they've brought me along. They've brought me into student life. They've brought me into a different cultural scene here at UNCA. And I owe a lot to them, not just to one student, but to all of them.
Uvalde is a small-town mosaic of cultures, peoples, and ecosystems, nestled between the central Texas hill country and the great western desert. It's a rugged, hostile environment where for the past several decades a fledgling Baha'i community has struggled for survival. Now, at long last, this little community has begun to grow. Enrique and Maria Cantu, who pioneered to Uvalde 27 years ago, traced the beginnings of growth to the plea of 4 Baha'i children who begged to be taken to the river to escape the summer heat. Maria called her husband at work.
And she goes, "Henry, we're taking the Muñozes to the river." And I didn't want to go, so I told her, "Honey, tonight we have fireside. And we won't be able to go to the river and come back for the fireside." She goes, "Henry, nobody comes to the fireside. So we take them to the river."
While driving to the river, they shared prayers and talked about the faith.
We left with 4 Baha'is and we come back with 9 Baha'is, and we were all excited, and we had told them to go and tell everyone that they were Baha'is. And they did. They were so excited about it. They went out and they were telling everybody that they were Baha'is.
But they soon faced a crisis when another Baha'i warned them against enrolling children without their parents.
We have to go and teach the parents and see if they will give permission. We have to read a little bit more about children in the Baha'i faith. And that's what we did. We were that evening until 11 o'clock at night, visiting the Baha'i the houses of the children that decided to be Baha'is, and amazingly they were all given permission.
The Cantu family opened their home for children's classes, moving them into the garage as the number of children grew past 30. Today, Uvalde has 38 enrolled Baha'is, most of whom are youth and children.
I've been a Baha'i almost for a year, and on this month I'll be a Baha'i for a year.
Fernando's concerned parents sent his older brother, Braulio, to investigate what was going on.
I like the plays that they had. Me and my cousin did a play, Tahari play. And I was the narrator, so I got the longest part, and I like that play. We like that. She had power. She had, she wasn't like the rest of the ladies from the other religion that they don't listen to them. They have them, apart. But this, it showed me that, women have a place on the Baha'i faith,
The current growth has clear roots in the previous decades of faithful service. Patty Rivas was among the first youth to declare her faith.
When Maria Cantu and Henry Cantu moved to Uvalde, they moved next door to my grandpa, and that's where he became a Baha'i. They taught him about the Baha'i faith.
My guide and my refuge. I will no longer I will be a happy and joyful being.
We have prayer books for everyone, and everyone is sort of like, give me a prayer book, I want a prayer book. It's like everybody wants to say a prayer. It's just, it makes them feel very spiritual.
I saw a kid sitting alone. He threw up in the morning, so I said a prayer to him and remove our difficulties.
One time we had visitors from another Baha'i community. They were so surprised, like, wow, there's kids that, that want to say prayers, and they're not embarrassed of saying prayers, they just really want to say prayers.
On Sundays, the Baha'i children frequently visit churches in the community, consonant with Baha'u'llah's injunction to consort with the followers of all religions in a spirit of friendliness and fellowship. This is their second visit to the New Light Baptist Church. The small congregation warmly welcomed the Baha'i youth to observe their services. Subsequent discussion of these experiences raises questions which broaden the children's understanding their faith. That faith is also expressed in service to the community.
Abdu'l-Baha friends, this is one of the areas that we selected, the Bahai Youth in Uvalde, to clean up as a service project. We used to come just about every weekend to clean up the trash here. It was a non-ending story. We always would come here every weekend and find new trash, and that was one of our ways of doing service to humanity.
Elementary school teacher Sherry Reddick started her own service project.
And so what I did is I wrote a grant through my school and through the Southern Poverty Law Center in Alabama. And they gave us a grant to make a dance institute for the ballet folklorico. Because most of our people here are Hispanic, we're losing the culture. And this has really helped the faith. We've gotten the name Bahai in the newspaper lots of times because I make sure that the reason that I'm doing this is because I am a Bahai.
Maria and Henry Cantu are celebrating their 30th wedding anniversary in the company of friends and loved ones.
They have been an example and inspiration for many of us, how to teach and how to serve Baha'u'llah.
They use the occasion to testify to the transforming effects of their love for Baha'u'llah.
And about a year before we were about to get out of the military, the Baha'i faith found us. And I was always telling myself, there's got to be something better for my husband. Never thinking about me, because I didn't need it. My husband needed it. But by doing that, I got rewarded too. It was a good thing that Baha'u'llah found me.
Here in Uvalde, the emerging pattern of Baha'i community life is built on three basic concepts.
Prayer, love, and service. Prayer, love, and service are the three things that we can all do as Baha'is.
I think growth at this level can happen anywhere. It can. It just takes for the Baha'is to arise and show love towards your neighbors and invite them to your homes. This can happen anywhere.